Hello and welcome to Challenge Your Mind, Change the World, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of communication and critical thinking and how these essential skills can transform our relationships and our futures with our teens. I'm your host, Francesca Hudson, the classic high school teacher, a writer, entrepreneur, and an advocate for meaningful conversations. Each episode, I explore strategies and share insights on how parents can enhance their communication with their children. It's not just about talking, it's about listening, understanding, and fostering an environment where critical thinking thrives. I'm here to equip you with the tools not only for immediate improvements in your family interactions, but also to set up our teens for long-term success in every aspect of their lives. So whether you're on your morning commute or winding down for the evening, join me as we unlock the potential of our conversations to shape a brighter, more thoughtful world. Let's get started. Welcome to Challenge Your Mind, Change the World, the podcast where we explore powerful strategies to enhance your thinking, writing, and overall academic performance. I'm Francesca, and I am thrilled to have you with me today. Welcome to all of our new parents who are joining us for the first time, and welcome to all of my other friends who are here today. It's so good to spend this next half an hour with you all. If you're new to the podcast, in each episode, we delve into the techniques and the tips that can help you become a more critical thinker, as well as helping our children, our teenagers, become better writers and ultimately more successful in school and in life, because it's not all about the academic achievement. It's about the holistic support that we give our children. And so whether you're looking to improve and help your child with their study habits, or to sharpen their writing skills, or to broaden their understanding of the world, you're in the right place. So welcome. Today we're going to discuss a concept that can really revolutionize our children's study habits with minimal effort. I'm talking about the power of a 1% shift. This idea is all about making small, consistent improvements each day that can lead to significant long-term results. I want you to imagine what life would be like if our students could transform their academic performance just by making tiny changes in how they approach their studies. Sounds intriguing, right? Well, in this episode, we'll break down what the 1% shift is, why it works so effectively, and how you can start applying it with your teenagers into their daily routines. Plus, we'll share how you can leverage resources that I have got to show you to maximize these small improvements and to achieve exceptional results in our teenagers' writing and in their studies. All right, so let's kick things off by diving into the concept of the 1% shift. You might be wondering, what exactly do I mean by a 1% shift? Well, it's a simple yet incredibly powerful idea. The 1% shift is all about making small incremental improvements in our habits and routines every day. These tiny changes might seem insignificant at first, but over time, they can lead to massive results. The key to understanding the 1% shift is the principle of compounding improvements, right? Compounding is a concept often used in finance to describe how investments grow over time due to the interest earned on both the initial principal and the accumulated interest. However, this principle isn't limited to just finance. It applies to our habits and behaviors as well. Imagine improving your study habits by just 1% every day. On the first day, the change might be so small that it's barely noticeable, and that's okay. But as you continue to make these small improvements, they start to add up. By the end of the first month, you will have improved by about, get ready for this, 30%, 30% in just 1 month. Keep going, and by the end of the year, you will be 37 times better than when you started. That's incredible. So let's put this into perspective of how this can apply to our teenagers. Let's say they currently study for 1 hour each day. A 1% improvement means adding just 36 seconds to their study time on the first day. The next day, you add another 1% to that slightly longer study session. It's a small, manageable increase, but over time, this approach significantly extends their study sessions without feeling overwhelming. Isn't that cool? The idea of small, continuous improvements is powerful because it's sustainable, right? It's not about making huge, drastic changes that are hard to maintain. Instead, it's about making tiny adjustments that are easy to stick with. Over time, these small changes build up, leading to substantial progress. It is totally amazing and life-changing. Why does this work so well? Well, it's because the small wins build momentum. Each little success gives you a boost of confidence and motivation to keep going. Plus, when changes are small and manageable, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed and more likely to stick with them. I want to shift gears slightly and talk about the importance of consistency over intensity and how small, regular improvements can lead to sustainable progress, because nothing is going to work if it's not sustainable. So we need to ensure that whatever we are implementing in our teenagers' study routines can take them through for the long run. When we're trying to get better at something, it's tempting to think we need to make big, dramatic changes. We have that desire for that instant transformation. Maybe you've tried to overhaul your entire study routine in one go in the past when you were studying yourself, only to find it too overwhelming to maintain. And so how do we expect our teenagers to? This is where the idea of consistency over intensity comes into play. Small, regular improvements are often more sustainable and effective than large, infrequent changes. When you focus on making tiny adjustments consistently, you're more likely to stick with them, turning those really small changes into long-lasting habits. Let's talk about some practical examples to show you what I mean of 1% improvements in our teens' study habits. How could it look? Well, let's start with a few extra minutes, studying for a few extra minutes. Instead of trying to add an extra hour to our teenagers' study time or encouraging them to add an extra hour, start by adding just a few minutes. If your teenager normally studies for 30 minutes, try studying for 31 minutes today. And then tomorrow, add another minute. And then this gradual increase is much easier to manage and sustain. The second way that we can support our teens by starting to make these small incremental habits is organising their notes better. So encourage them to take a few minutes each day to organise their notes more effectively. Maybe they spend a minute colour coding their notes or creating a quick summary of what they've learned. And then over time, these small changes can greatly improve their ability to review and to recall information. Another example I'll share with you is active listening. Now, this one is kind of revolutionary in a way, and I used to call it playing teachers when I was studying, when I was a teenager at school. And so what I would do is, instead of passively reading through my textbooks, I would try actively engaging with the material for just a few minutes each session. I would pretend that I was a teacher and I had to teach this content to an imaginary class. So I would ask myself questions about the content, or I would try to explain a concept in my own words to an imaginary class as if I was teaching it for the first time. And these small steps really can enhance your understanding and retention of the information. The fourth way that you can start to encourage your team to implement these changes by improving focus. If your teenager finds it hard to stay focused, encourage them to start by improving their concentration for just one additional minute each day. They could use techniques like my STAR method, where they focus intensely for a short period and then take a break, and then gradually increase the focus time as they build their concentration skills. These small, regular improvements might not seem like much on their own, but over time they build up to significant progress. The key is to make these changes consistent. It's not about making a huge leap all at once. It's about taking small, manageable steps that our teenagers can stick with over the long term. And how they do that is through consistency. Consistency creates a snowball effect. Each small improvement builds on the previous one, creating momentum and making it easier to continue improving. This approach reduces the risk of burnout, and it also keeps our teenagers motivated because they can see and they can feel the progress that they're making. And that's the whole point, right? We need to be able to ensure that what we're doing is not a waste of time. And the way we measure that is by seeing it firsthand that it is working. One of the most powerful aspects of the 1% shift is how it builds momentum. Each small success you achieve gives you a boost of confidence and motivation. It's like a snowball effect. As you continue to make teeny tiny improvements, you start to see and feel the progress, which in turn encourages you to keep going. That's human nature. That's how we all function. Let's break this down a bit though. When you achieve a small goal, no matter how minor it may seem, it creates a sense of accomplishment. This feeling of success releases a dopamine in your brain, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. And this not only makes you feel good, but also reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to repeat it. For example, if you set a goal to study for 1 extra minute a day and you achieve it, you'll feel a sense of pride. This small win boosts your confidence and makes you more likely to add another minute the next day. As these small victories accumulate, they build a strong foundation of confidence. Momentum is powerful because it reduces the effort needed to maintain progress. When you have momentum, tasks feel easier and you're more motivated to tackle challenges. This is why small daily improvements are so effective. They create a positive feedback loop that keeps you moving forward. I've got 4 ways that you can teach your teenager to build and maintain momentum with their study habits. Number 1 is encourage them to track their progress. They can keep a journal or use an app to track their daily improvements because seeing their progress over time can be incredibly motivating and it helps them visualize how far they've come. The second way is celebrate the small wins. Taking time to acknowledge and celebrate your teenager's achievements, no matter how small, can really reinforce positive behavior and keeps them motivated. I love celebrating the small wins. I actually love celebrating the small wins more than I like celebrating the big wins because there's a lot of time that lapses between big wins. But when you're celebrating small wins, it really does encourage you and keep the momentum high, keep the energy and the vibe high. It's great. Third way that we can encourage our teenagers is by setting mini goals. Breaking down their larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks means that each time they complete a mini goal, they build momentum and they build confidence. And that kind of ties in hand with the acknowledging the small wins, right? It's the tiny, tiny micro level of success that we're looking for here because it compounds. And then number 4 is stay consistent. So consistency is the key to maintaining momentum, as we all know. Even on days when our teenagers don't feel like studying, making a small effort, even just a couple of minutes, a few minutes in the day, can keep the momentum going. Like going to the gym, that's another example. As an adult, you don't really feel like going to the gym on some days. But if you just pull yourself in the car and say, right, I'm only going to go for a couple of minutes, I'll go on the treadmill and then I'll leave again. By the time you've got your gym gear on, you're there, you're in the workout area, you're on the treadmill, the music's pumping. It doesn't feel too bad, does it? So it's the ability just to keep consistent and you'll get there. Remember, the journey to improvement doesn't have to be daunting. By focusing on making small, consistent changes and celebrating our teenagers' success, they will build momentum that propels them forward. And each tiny step they take is a step closer to their bigger goals. Now let's focus on how making 1% improvements in our teenagers' efficiency can enhance their study habits, which in turn will lead to better comprehension and retention. Efficiency is all about making the most of your time and resources. That's how we would define efficiency. So by finding ways to be just 1% more efficient each day, you can significantly boost your productivity without feeling overwhelmed, and so can our teenagers with their study habits. So here are some practical tips for making these small, impactful changes to their study habits. And you guessed it, I've got another 4 for you. So the first one is encourage your teams with different study methods to find what works best for them. Techniques like the STAR method, which is my own method, which I have developed, is where you summarize and then you test yourself and then you analyze and then you reflect. It's a 4-part system that is set to timing, and it's a really good way to get a short, sharp study session in for your subject. And it's something that I offer with the Essay Clinic. So I do a whole masterclass on it. So finding a study method like the STAR method can really help maintain focus and prevent burnout. And with the STAR study method, I also incorporate active recall into the study session, and that really helps with enhancing their retention. The second way that we can help our teenagers enhance their study habits by using the 1% shift is improving time management. We can encourage our teenagers to use a planner or a digital app to organise their study schedule. That way they can prioritise their tasks and break them down into smaller, manageable chunks and allocate specific time blocks for each task and then stick to them. This can help them stay on track and make the most of their study time. Third way is to optimise their study environment. And I love this one. I always have candles at home that I love to light when I'm writing and some very soothing music on in the background. And so we can do the same with helping our teenagers by creating a study space that minimises distractions and maximises productivity. Ensure that their workspace is well lit, they've got a good lamp, it's quiet and it's organised. And small changes like decluttering their desk or using noise-cancelling headphones can make a huge difference in their ability to focus. And the fourth way that we can encourage these study habits is by setting specific goals. Instead of vague goals like, you need to study more, set clear, achievable objectives with your teenager for each study session. So, for example, they could aim to read 1 chapter of a textbook or complete a set number of practice problems or write a draft of an essay. And so by having specific goals that they can feed back to you will help them stay focused and measure their progress. Implementing these 1% improvements in our teenagers' study habits can lead to several benefits. It can lead to enhanced comprehension by studying more effectively. They can deepen their understanding of the material. Active learning techniques and focused study sessions enables them to engage more deeply with the content, making it easier to grasp complex concepts. Efficient study techniques can help them retain information for longer. Methods like spaced repetition that we talked about, where they review material at increasing intervals, really reinforces their memory and makes it less likely that they'll forget what they've learned. It also helps with reducing stress. Better time management and organised study habits can reduce the stress and anxiety often associated with studying. When they know exactly what they need to do and have a clear plan for how to do it, studying can become far less daunting. And it also means that there's greater productivity. Those small 1% improvements means that our teenagers can accomplish more in less time. Remember, the goal is not to overhaul our teenagers' entire study routine overnight. Instead, it's focusing on making small, consistent improvements. Try out new techniques like the STAR method, adjust their schedules or help our teenagers to adjust their schedules and to optimise their environment one step at a time. These 1% changes can lead to significant gains in their overall efficiency and their academic performance, which at the end of the day is one of the measurable KPIs for our teenagers, isn't it? Being at school, those end of semester exams or tests is what they are most worried about. To start building these habits, we have to focus on one small change at a time. We need to be consistent, patient, and mindful of our progress and our teenagers' progress. And we want to be encouraging our teenagers to use tools like habit trackers or reminders to keep them on track, and celebrate their small victories and understand that building habits is a gradual process. And I'll say that over and over again, it's not going to happen overnight. We can also give them resources that can help them implement these 1% shifts effectively. And one that I teach with my students, and I have been teaching for many years, is what I teach at the Essay Clinic. And the Essay Clinic is a comprehensive digital course designed to teach the basics of writing a literary response essay. So we are applying these principles of the 1% shift that we've talked about today in English literature. Because English is one of the core subjects that your teenager will have to study at high school, and it will take them all the way through to university entrance and beyond. So understanding how to communicate and how to effectively respond to literary texts is a skill that needs to be taught. So the essay clinic is perfect for students who struggle with essay writing or feel like they're no good at it, whether they're confused by literary terminology or haven't quite understood the previous writing instructions by their teacher in class. The essay clinic offers a do-it-yourself at your own pace approach to mastering essay writing. So this is a great example of how we can use the 1% shift, because the course breaks down the process of writing a literary response essay into manageable, easy to understand segments, and each lesson is focused on specific aspects of essay writing, so that's small incremental steps at a time, from understanding literary terminology to crafting a strong thesis statement and structuring the argument effectively. It also gives practical exercises that allow students to apply what they've learned. So it's that test and recall, that retention that we talked about earlier in the episode. So these exercises are designed to help our teenagers make small incremental improvements to their writing, one step at a time. And also, because it's a digital course, they can learn at their own pace or on their own schedule. And this flexibility ensures that they can make the consistent progress without feeling rushed or overwhelmed. It's about building it into a schedule and into a study routine that we mentioned. So by following the course and applying the lessons, our teenagers can make those essential 1% improvements that lead to big results. So let's see some real life examples of how teenagers have applied the 1% shift. And because I'm an English literature teacher, I will give you English literature examples. And I've changed the names of these students to protect their privacy. So I'm going to call the student Jamie to protect their name. And Jamie is a high school sophomore who struggled with literary terminology. Jamie often felt lost when it came to analysing texts and writing essays. And then after enrolling in the essay clinic, Jamie followed the course's clear and comprehensive lessons on literary terms. By completing the practical exercises, Jamie gradually built a strong understanding of the key concepts. So this 1% improvement each day helped Jamie become more confident in structuring essays. Over the next few months, these small steps led to significant progress, and Jamie's essay grades improved dramatically. Another example I'll give you is Taylor, a high school senior balancing a busy schedule. Taylor appreciated the flexibility of the essay clinic's digital format, which allowed learning at her own pace. By spending a few minutes each day on the course, Taylor gradually improved her writing skills. The practical exercises helped Taylor apply what she learned immediately, reinforcing new skills and building confidence. As a result, Taylor felt more prepared for college-level writing, amazing, well done Taylor, and saw a noticeable improvement in her essay scores. Yay! So these success stories highlight the power of making small, consistent improvements with the help of the essay clinic. Whether it's overcoming terminology confusion, building the essay structure skills, or taking advantage of flexible learning, the 1% shift can lead to remarkable results over time. If you're inspired by these stories and want to see similar improvements in your own academic journey, consider signing up for the essay clinic. With its clear lessons, practical exercises, and flexible format, you can start making those small changes that add up to huge success. I will put the link in the show notes and you can check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Your commitment to helping your teenagers improve their study habits and writing skills is truly inspiring. I am so proud of you all and the commitment that you are making to helping your children, and the commitment as parents we all make to wanting the best for our children. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends. Your support helps me reach more students like your teenager who are eager to challenge their minds and change the world. Remember, big results come from small, consistent changes. By focusing on making tiny improvements each day, our teenagers can achieve their goals and unlock their full potential. Help your teenagers to start implementing those 1% shifts in their study routine and watch how they transform their academic journey. Until next time, my friends, keep challenging your mind and changing the world 1% at a time. I'm Francesca, and this has been Challenge Your Mind, Change the World. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Challenge Your Mind, Change the World. I hope you found our discussion enriching and that you're walking away with new ideas to enhance communication and critical thinking within your own family. If you enjoyed this episode and are finding value in our conversations, please take a moment to rate us on your favourite podcast platform. Your feedback not only supports us, but also helps other parents discover the tools they need to foster stronger relationships and critical thinking skills with their teens. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this with someone who you think could benefit from our today's topic. I'm Francesca Hudson, and I look forward to joining you again next time as we continue to challenge our minds and change the world. Until then, keep thinking critically and communicating effectively.